Welcome to this special election show from Kashmir. It is the most anticipated assembly election in the recent history of Jammu and Kashmir. This election is being held after a gap of 10 years. During this period, a lot has changed in Jammu and Kashmir. It's no more a state, it's a union territory. So these elections are being held in union territory. So even after elections are held, new government takes place, is formed. The central rule partially will continue in Jammu and Kashmir because Lieutenant Governor has sweeping powers over key matters in Jammu and Kashmir. So what are the areas which are areas of convergence in elections for different parties? It is the restoration of the statehood from BJP, PDP, Congress, National Conference. The first thing they want to start with is the restoration of statehood because Prime Minister himself has promised twice during his recent visits to Jammu and Kashmir. I'm joined by a very, very special panel of political parties. On my right side is Ghulam Nabi Monga, former legislator and the senior leader of Congress, Aga Ruhullah Mahdi, Member Parliament Srinagar and National Conference leader, Dr. Daraksha Indrabi, chairperson of J&K Waqf Board and senior leader of the BJP, Wahidur Rahman Para, youth president of the PDP, and also he is contesting from Pulwama. He has taken time to join this program. Thank you, all of you. Let me start with you, Mr. Aga Ruhullah. What does this election means to you when you are fighting it in the Union territory? National Conference has already released its manifesto wherein they have said that you are going to pass a resolution to tell the world and the country that you don't accept the decisions of August 5, 2019.
Well, for us it means starting the process of reclaiming what we have lost and what was taken away from us on August 5, 2019. And since then, as you know, this state has not only been downgraded, divided, but people of Jammu and Kashmir were and are still continue to be disempowered and disenfranchised on every account. Last parliament election was the only chance of expression after a gap of 5 years and after a forced silence of 5 years, when people could express what they felt and what is there on the surface and how people think about the decisions and the status that we have at the moment. This election gives the people of Jammu and Kashmir that opportunity by large. It takes the narrative, it takes the expression to every nook and corner because the candidates will be more localized because this is for assembly, and the engagement will be more localized, and you'll get to hear and listen from the people from the basic level, from the local level, that people of Jammu and Kashmir want the reclamation
So
of
you
what
want
they have lost.
you want reclaim what has been taken away, what the state has lost. Wahid, you tell me, you are contesting this election. We saw some of the campaigning you have in Pulwama, and this is election we know which is happening soon after the recent parliament elections, where people have shown their yearning for democracy. What this election means for you and what is the agenda of the PDP? We know you have released the manifesto, which is almost identical what NC has released in its manifesto.
I think the whole, the 5th August 2019 was not just an event that has taken away and, robbed our constitutional rights, but it's also a day when the process of dispossession of Kashmiri Muslims actually started, from constitutional positions, democratic institutions, political process, and everything was criminalized, from bar to journalists to political space to religious spaces, Jamaat Islamia, from other political parties. Most of the spaces were criminalized and people were booked, raided, and it was like one day coup in Kashmir. So this is an event to reclaim the process. Like Aga Sahab rightly said, people are trying to reclaim the spaces, democratic spaces, whatever is left. It may be a toothless assembly, but it is important to have strong voices in a weak assembly. that you still have democratic vices, because violence still is not an option. You don't want to pelt stones, you don't want to take guns, you don't want to do protests, but you definitely want to send a message to New Delhi. Like in North Kashmir, we saw a new wave of people coming out and voting for a prisoner and sending a message to Delhi that we are unhappy and we registered protest in a democratic form. So I think this is an event of this election in itself is a process to send a message to New Delhi that Kashmiris are unhappy with Fifth Act and also unhappy with the criminalization of democratic space, and
So you are talking about, has
also
there
want
been
to
any
reclaim
criminalization of
every
democratic
space
space?
that is available. We want to reclaim that from panchayat, municipality to assembly to parliament, that Kashmiris want their voices to be heard in a democratic form.
Monga Sahab, you tell me you are in alliance with the National Conference. Your party came under attack from the BJP that look, National Conference has released the manifesto which they say is anti-national. So how you are going to deal with that, perception, if at all it has created? It may not be aimed at electorate of Jammu and Kashmir, but BJP is trying to send that message across the country. You are aligned with the party which has a manifesto which is not patriotic, which they see is anti-national.
No, first of all, I want to say that BJP puts everybody, every opposite party, a anti-national party. National Conference has been ruling this state, erstwhile state, for a long time because people have elected them. People elected them for that purpose, and now they are in alliance with the Congress. They feel that they will miserably fail in. You will see on the day of announcement of these elections, counting of the votes. They will get the reply. The BJP will get the reply on that day, when both the parties will definitely emerge as the largest and with comfortable majority in coming elections. But we should not attach any importance to that, what they say. We are secular. Both the parties have been secular, and other parties in the fray have their own past. ऐसी बात नहीं है. They have a right to contest the election. People were eagerly waiting for this chance, and they will definitely give the reply, befitting reply to BJP, what they are claiming.
Well, BJP leader Daraksha Indrabi, who joined our program, had certainly some throat problem and she had to leave. So we could not ask any question to the BJP, though they participate in the program, but there was some sudden health problem. I'll come back to you, Ruhullah Saab. You tell me, you have been in the parliament, you have been very vocal. This election is fascinating in many ways. This is the first election which is happening without the shadow of violence, without the shadow of boycott calls. And we have seen, and it has a profound impact on the participation of the people. We have seen it in the parliament elections. What message you think this election would send to the country and the larger polity of this?
I think more than the narrative of with boycott or without boycott, the nation should be, it should give its respect to the result of the mandate. The mandate that this election throws, through that mandate, it would be better only for the democracy at large and for the people of Jammu and Kashmir, that the nation listens to the people of Jammu and Kashmir and respects that mandate. If that mandate is not respected, then this narrative of boycott or no boycott carries no weight. While you say that there's no, it's not happening under the shadow of violence, it's not happening under the shadow of, boycott and violence, then you need to listen to the mandate and respect it, so that the mandate that comes as a result of such election should be the guiding principle for the nation vis-a-vis Jammu and Kashmir. If they do not listen to the opinion and the wishes of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, then this is all in vain. So more than this narrative is how much respect do you give to the mandate, do you give to the voice of the people of Jammu?
Okay, so Wahid Sab, you tell me, this, you as I said, your manifesto is almost identical to national conferences. So for example, if tomorrow there is, alliance, Congress NC alliance would not get the majority, would you willingly support it? Or there's a very interesting thing, former governor Satpal he is Satpal Malik. He is saying, "Oh, Ram Madhav has been appointed as the in charge of J&K. That is because there will be a PDP BJP alliance."
I think we're definitely open to alliance with NC and Congress, and we have been very vocal about it in Parliament also. And we had a PAGD, we were part of India Alliance, but due to the mathematics of it or the mandate issues, constancy issues, some parties were not willing to cede space. So, but we will be always open to a secular alliance in Jammu and Kashmir because that's what suits the interests of Kashmir. That suits the interests of both regions in Jammu and Kashmir as well, and that's a demand also that there should be a secular government. And we are very open and conveniently. I think numbers will definitely speak for it after results. So I don't see
But
there's a
have you
problem.
not been left in lurch? What we know, you tried that to have an alliance with the Congress, but Congress chose to have an alliance with the NC
Because
instead of.
there are constancy issues also. You have to see, as at the end of the day we're all political parties. So NC Congress had their own constancy in charge at places who they wanted to accommodate. In some places they had a conflict with our candidates, so they preferred to have a different alliance. So Congress has more stakes in Jammu, NC has more stakes in Kashmir. With PDP, they would have to cede a lot of spaces.
So you are
So
saying,
they
despite
refused that. We were still open, and most of it, like I think Mahabbaji has been clearly saying that she is keen to form an India alliance in Jammu
okay,
and Kashmir.
so actually, despite rejection from the Congress and National Conference post-election, you are willing to even support.
I think it's more about shared interests, more what are the interests of this place, more about the interests of Jammu and Kashmir state, and definitely right now the three parties have common goals.
So it is very interesting, while they are contesting against each other, even during elections, even before the first phase of polling, they are saying, we will support this alliance. Monga Saab, is it music to your ears?
No, we expect from PDP also that we have a common cause. We have to represent the aspirations of the common man. So for that purpose, we are united.
So
we,
was
we
Congress
welcome
also
it.
mulling to have alliance with the
welcome
broader
it.
alliance with the PDP?
No, I want to answer your first question, which you put me regarding this BJP, because they call NC and PDP anti-national. So were they correct at that time? It was good for them when they aligned with the National Conference. Was that good? Was not that anti-national when they aligned with the PDP? So you have to see the what stand the BJP is taking, and what we have to take as a political party for the benefit of the common man who is suffering for the last more than 10 years. His voice has been choked.
Mhm.
He cannot speak anything as far as now.
Uh,
We are happy that the Jammu province has also come to this conclusion that they have betrayed, that the BJP has betrayed both Jammu as well as Kashmir.
But Ruhula Saab, one thing BJP has been saying, they say, look, if these people come to power, violence is going to return. There would be terrorism. There would be stone pelting. Aren't they partly true? Because it is, if we see the stone pelting or the shutdowns, I will not talk about militancy, that is a different subject. It has completely stopped during these last 5 years. Yes, as far as militancy is concerned, it has spread to Jammu, which was free from militancy. But should you not give that credit to the BJP central government? Look, they have completely finished, streets are calm, and everybody is coming out to vote without fear of violence.
I should ask you, has stone pelting been the permanent scene on the streets of Jammu and Kashmir for the last 70 years? No, it's not been. And I don't think that only 2 or 3 years or cycles of stone pelting defines the functioning of Jammu and Kashmir, the behavior of Jammu and Kashmir. And as I believe that one could not predict that stone pelting and that to that extent in 2008, 10 and 16 would happen, one can at this moment not be so sure that these things will not return. So I think we should not be fooled by these narratives. And to answer your question more, specifically, it's been us who have been fighting the stone pelting, the violence, anti-national activities, whatever you call. It's us.
I know, you are a victim, your father has been killed.
We are all victims at multiple levels.
Correct.
Multiple levels. Because we were fighting that violence. We stood for the ideology when no one dared to stand for this ideology of peace, of democracy, of institutions, of idea of India, whatever you call it. It's us who have been fighting that. We have been the victims. We were not vitiated. I mean, we were not conceived as enemies of the society for being PDP, National Conference, or Congress. We were conceived as enemies for being the symbols of idea of India.
Correct.
So the nation needs to understand that. So having this, I mean, fool's conception of whatever is happening at the moment is a permanent feature is a mistake that this place is going to pay for, and nation at large will wake up to a different reality if the issue is not permanently addressed. So we believe that's why we have been, for the last 70 years, these ideologies have grown up, these, I mean, organizations, parties have grown up through the cycle of peace, through the cycle of violence from the opposite side. And we understand that the people of Jammu and Kashmir need to have that sense of achievement when all these, with the result of that, these all features that you talk about, no stone pelting, no boycott, if the people of Jammu and Kashmir get that sense of achievement, these things become permanent.
Okay.
If they do not have a sense of achievement, with this sense of defeat and being muzzled, these things are not permanent.
Wahid, we know it. Even despite militancy, threats, boycott, people have come out and voted. For example, in 2014 assembly elections, 66% people came out and voted. The turnout was 66%, though that was largely violence-free election. But then we know in 2019 parliament election, there was completely, almost huge boycott. When we have this really a participative democracy process, and are we leaving behind that era of militancy now? Democracy, as we say, ballot over bullet. Is that the era we have entered now? So is it the actually not that era of separatism is gone?
I think Kashmiris are always, put a lot of hope in democratic process. And even if you go to pre-violence stage, it was the state's mistake of rigging and a mass rigging that led to escalation of violence and eruption of violence. So we need to understand this huge participation today, which you are seeing in parliament and assembly elections, is also generating a lot of hopes. What Aga Sahab rightly said, that there has to be productive and delivery after this. There has to be a productive process after this huge mobilization of people. When you mobilize people, when you raise expectations from political process, if there is no delivery tomorrow from the union government or recognition of the ground or the sentiments that people of Kashmir are feeling or aspiring, even if it may be a very different mandate that Delhi doesn't like tomorrow, they should address to the ground sentiments of people of Kashmir.
What is the ground sentiment? For example,
that is what will end violence. One sort of violence will not end another sort of violence.
Okay.
Today,
so let me just add. Mehbooba Mufti talked about resolution of Kashmir, but when he is asked what is the resolution, she said within the constitution.
I think it's
so. What kind of thing you are expecting, resolution you are expecting within the constitution?
I think first of all, we need to understand the election itself is not that everybody is on board. There are a lot of people who are in jail who consider themselves, and we also consider them, the stakeholders of the political process in Jammu and Kashmir. There are a lot of people who died in this process of violence in last 20 years of, these families are unaddressed. So there has to be a huge political process, reconciliation beyond electoral process, to reach out to those families and also involve, release young people from jails.
Okay.
There has to be amnesty. The state has to be bigger than a non-state actor. So unless you don't assimilate those sentiments into the political process, electoral process, there is not going to be much hope from any elections in Jammu and Kashmir. So that's why when
so you want, even after elections, reconciliation is very important.
That is the core, because you are addressing to this, when we're talking about there's no violence or there is violence or stone pelting, you are all addressing to the symptoms of a larger problem.
So
unless we understand the larger problem.
Saab, when it comes to reconciliation, long back when Umar Abdullah was the president of the National Conference, then there was a government of National Conference in 2009 so he was talking about truth and reconciliation. In fact, during Article 370 verdict by the Supreme Court, one thing, though that was not the part of the petition or the case, was the truth and reconciliation in Jammu and Kashmir. Will that be a case after this election? Will you work for the truth and reconciliation? Because there are Kashmiri Pandits, there are Muslims, there are people who are in POK, there are people who are in, these camps.
As you mentioned, we are committed to it. The party has committed itself to it. Umar Abdullah has committed himself to it. And We want that to happen. We want truth to be surfaced. The answer for whatever happened in the decade of 90s and after that, answer for the reality behind the exodus of migration of the Pandit community. We want to know about the graves that still stand unidentified. We want to surface the truth about the functioning of the security forces. Why do we take all the blame? Why do political establishment take all the blame? While a lot has to be talking about the security forces, a lot of accountability has to be surfaced, and a lot of things have to be found about the functioning of the security forces. We need to have a complete truth and reconciliation, and then with that truth finding of the facts, we need to reconcile with the facts and reconcile with the need to engage with the people of Jammu and Kashmir, and then empower them.
Okay, Monga Sahab, last question to all of you. Now the elections are happening after a gap of 10 years. There's a revival of democracy after democracy, and the politics remained in a suspended animation for long years. This end of this long direct center rule, as I said, though there would be partly the central rule because LG, so long J&K remains a union territory. What is the first goal of Congress after elections in Jammu and Kashmir, if it will be part of the government here in J&K?
You know that Congress party has already taken a stand that statehood should be restored, and it should be our top priority for this, that first of all, the moment we get elected, and we should strive for this statehood. It should come back to us.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, state rights, these job rights and land rights should be restored immediately after the election.
Aga Sahab.
The party is committed towards starting a process of getting the decisions of August 5 reversed, and as I said, that's not the ultimate goal for us. The empowerment of the people of Jammu and Kashmir in shape of what was committed to the state of Jammu and Kashmir by the Union of India at the time of accession, complete implementation of those guarantees is the ultimate goal of National Conference. And unless and until the decisions of August 5 are not reversed, we feel that the people of Jammu and Kashmir stand betrayed and humiliated.
Wahid Raman
I think definitely the reversal of this 5th August decision and going back to pre 2019 position again. That should be the beginning of any confidence building measure. And the larger solution again is the dialogue with the people of Jammu and Kashmir, irrespective of their beliefs and ideologies. There has to be there was a Prime Minister's working group. Even the Vajpayee, being a BJP leader, was engaging with Kashmiri separatist mainstream and all stakeholders. The Manmohan Singh government was also engaging with Kashmiri leadership. I think unless we acknowledge the ground realities, involve people, and not use jail, UAPA, arrests, detentions as a means to achieve peace. So there has to be a political process and talks with the Kashmiris that will bring solution to the larger.
So you are talking about engagement, not jails. More importantly, who wins and who loses, more important is this election and the participation of people, whether it was in parliamentary elections or this election, it is a tribute to thousands of political workers who have been killed over the since 1990 because they stood for democracy in Kashmir. No place has suffered so much, such a great, so much as Kashmir, because the people here, political parties, they stood for democracy. They were killed. Thousands of political workers. Even the parties don't have the number. They are not even statistics. So it is a tribute when people come out to vote without fear of violence. But importantly in this election, what the political parties say, all the parties, the first thing which should happen after elections is restoration of statehood. And here, National Conference, PDP, though they are fighting against each other, they are saying they want reversal of decision of August 5, 2019, which was a revocation of Article 370. Thank you so much for watching.